And I want to talk about pocket dimensions, astral plane, and the material manifestation. So this is just from my experience that I've learned these things, and it's like example. The other day I had a dream, and so you can see places and people you've never met before in dreams, and they're actual real places and they're real people. It happens all the time, and people can tell you this. You've probably experienced it yourself. People experience it. I've experienced it many a time. I had a friend in Martha's Vineyard, and I was going to go visit him, and I told him about this place I was, and he's like, "Oh, that sounds a lot like, somewhere right where I live." And it was when I went there, it was like deja vu. I was describing to him the place in detail, and that was an example. And another one was like I went to the Highgate Cemetery, and I went and I had an encounter there, and I've never been there. This is in England somewhere, but there's a website that has all pictures of it, and I'm like, oh yeah, I was there, and that was pretty detailed. In my personal experience, I know for a fact that it was there. But also, you might have like recurring dreams, and I describe the nature of this to the extent because there's a lot of recurring dreams I have, and there's a lot of places that I go that are recurring. There's one place, an abandoned mansion. It's on some property. It's overgrown. They have like a reflection pool. It's it's very lavish, but it's unused and it's overgrown. It's a strange place, but I've been there many times. And other places. And then also I meet people in these places, and I meet the same people in the same places, in the same dreams. But that's because it is nearly as real as what we're experiencing in our material manifestation. It's very similar. For example, I had a dream just the other day, and it's funny because I saw Dr. Oz was in the dream, and I want to congratulate him for throwing his hat in and doing, his diligence to try to save the people of Pennsylvania, because Pennsylvania is very corrupt, and if the people want to sit on their hands and allow the wickedness to dedicate them, to define them, they really need to get off their butts. And I think Dr. Oz was doing a very good thing. It's unfortunate that the criminals, had succeeded in defeating him. But I saw him, and I was like, "Hey, doctor!" And it was in a place that I recur place. I'm often in this place, and I ran into him there, and I called him Dr. Phil, mistakenly. And if you ever met like a celebrity, sometimes you forget the name. And they're very polite usually. When you meet celebrities in public, they're usually almost, as a rule, very polite. But they don't want the time, they're going to be polite, and it takes a lot of time even to be polite. And they want to kind of just, hey, thanks, bye. They don't, without being rude. They do this. But that's kind of what he did. And he pointed to some other guy that just popped up over my left shoulder, and he had like a wig on, and he's like a Phil Donahue guy. He's dressed like Phil Donahue, but he wasn't Phil Donahue. It was just a costume. I looked at him, and I didn't get it at the time. But after I woke up, I realized, I called him Dr. Phil. It's Dr. Oz. But it's like my conscious mind didn't recognize it, but my unconscious mind, might have recognized it, perhaps. But I know upon waking, I recognized, that's why he was like despondent towards me, because I called him Dr. Phil. But anyway, I'm saying that there's a very good chance that he had experienced it. We had met it in a dream state. He was in a dream state, and I might have run into him. It's possible. And I would actually say it's most likely that his, conscious energy, we had an interaction of that sort. And that's my point about pocket dimensions and reality and what takes place. Because if you look at if we're in a synthetic world, it's just data. It's hard to point. It's not just data. I'm not sure as to the mechanisms of it, but it is, abstractions of correlations. So if you look in the Matrix movie, which is Philip K. Dick, is drawing this. He's saying this is our reality. It's a synthetic thing, and this is a not just fiction that he's writing. He's kind of saying this is what seems apparently real, and maybe his subconscious or some other conduit informant is giving him this vision. But he describes there's like I think in one of the first movie, he had like a little tracker on him. He had to take the tracker off, and the tracker was like a biochemical thing. So, but if you look at like radio signals or like DNA or like voodoo is like they need your DNA. How does DNA work with voodoo? Because it's a conduit signature, and that's kind of necessary to enter into other people's manifestation. In their material manifestation, it's just data, but you need to kind of get some kind of a parallel frequency to kind of enter into that world. That's why you have like things like cursed objects and such. There's lots of things to talk about in that capacity. But that's I'm saying that that's our concrete reality. Now with the New Agers, they oversimplify things because everything becomes nothing. It's as simple as that. Everything becomes nothing and feelings become facts. And now they're the wise ones. So you see, this is our political corruption and our religious corruption. Everybody's on page with that. And like, wow, everyone's awoke now because now no one's rational. They're just doing what they want to do. And if it feels good, they're doing it. And they're playing musical chairs. And that's the people playing the musical chairs want everybody in that mode. And you see everybody is in that modality.